Om Vishnu Padma Joya Shri Shri Mahasana Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Ki Jai Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulasi Devi Ki Jai, Guna Mai Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Krishna,
Satyavata Namo Namaha. Jaya Tusidivya Jaya Keshavasya Vishnu Bhakti Pradidevi Satyavata Namo Namaha.
देवी प्रियाय केशवस्य च विष्णुभक्ति प्रतिदेवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः।
Sri Vishwanath Das, governor of Uttar Pradesh, commended the volume to all thoughtful people. An economic review praised the author for attempting a tremendous task. Quote, at a time when not only the people of India, but those of the West need the chastening quality of love and truth in the corrupting atmosphere of hate and hypocrisy, a work like this will have uplifting and corrective influence. Dr. Zakir Hussain, Vice President of India, wrote, quote, I have read your book, Srimad Bhagavatam, with great interest and much profit. I thank you again for your kind thought, which must have prompted you to present it to me. The favorable reviews, although Bhaktivedanta Swami could not pay the printer with them, indicated a serious response. The book was valuable, and subsequent volumes would earn the series even more respect. By Krishna's grace, Bhaktivedanta Swami had already completed many of the translations and purports for Volume 2. Even in the last weeks of printing the first volume, he had been writing day and night for the second volume. It was glorification of the Supreme Lord, Krishna, and therefore it would require many, many volumes. He felt impelled to praise Krishna and describe him in more and more volumes. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had said that the presses of the world could not print fast enough the glories of Krishna and the spiritual world that were being received at every moment by the pure devotees. Bhaktivedanta Swami decided to return to Vrindavan for several months of intensive writing on Volume 2. This was his real business at Radha Damodar Temple. Vrindavan was the best place for writing transcendental literature. That had already been demonstrated by the Vaishnava Acharyas of the past. Living in simple ease, taking little rest and food, he continually translated the verses and composed his Bhaktivedanta purports for Volume 2. After a few months, after amassing enough manuscript pages, he would return to Delhi and once again enter the world of publishing. In Volume 1, he had covered the first 6.5 chapters of the first canto. The second volume began on page 365 with the 8th verse of the 7th chapter. Bhaktivedanta Swami wrote in his purport that the Srimad Bhagavatam was meant for Paramahamsas, persons engaged purely in self-realization. Yet, he wrote, it works into the depth of the heart of those who may be worldly men. Worldly men are all engaged in the matter of sense gratification, but even such men also will find in this Vedic literature a remedial measure for their material diseases. Bhaktivedanta Swami returned to Delhi to raise funds for printing Volume 2. When he visited a prospective donor, he would show the man Volume 1 and the growing collection of reviews, explaining that he was asking a donation not to support himself, but to print this important literature. Although for the first volume he had received no donations equal to the 4,000 rupees he had received from Mr. Podar, an executive in the L&H sugar factory gave a donation of 5,000 rupees for volume 2. Bhaktivedanta Swami had been dissatisfied with Hitsaran Sharma as a production supervisor. Although supposedly an expert in the trade, Hitsaran had caused delays, and sometimes he had advised Gautam Sharma without consulting Bhaktivedanta Swami. The work on Volume 1 had slowed and even stopped when a job from a cash customer had come up, and Bhaktivedanta Swami had complained that it was Hitsaran's fault for not giving money to OK Press on time. For Volume 2, Bhaktivedanta Swami decided to deal directly with OK Press and supervise the printing himself. He spoke to Gautam Sharma and offered a partial payment. Although the majority of the copies of Volume 1 were still standing on the printing floor, Bhaktivedanta Swami wanted OK Press to begin Volume 2. Gautam Sharma accepted the job. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Now let us welcome Niraj Prabhu and Rajna Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you for being here. We're going to have the festival today. The schedule is as follows. There'll be a little Shoka class this morning at 6:15, and then in 7:15 there'll be Darshan Arti, Guru Puja for Srila Prabhupada, and then the Bhagavatam at 7:45. Then there's breakfast prasadam, and then there won't be a second prasadam, but it'll be there until we start the festival. That starts at 4 p.m. Now let us offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They're just like desired trees who can fulfill the desires of everyone and are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavane.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Sit properly. Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, 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 Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, 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 Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, 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 Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare 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 Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Ram, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Krishna, Ram, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Sit properly. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna, 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 Ram, 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 Krishna, 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 Ram, 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 Krishna, Ram, 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 Krishna, 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 Ram, 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 Krishna, Ram, 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 Krishna, 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 Ram, 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 Krishna, Ram, 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 Krishna, 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 Ram, 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 Krishna, 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 Ram, 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 Krishna, 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 Ram, Krishna, 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 Ram, 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 Krishna, 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 Ram. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna, 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 Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram Krishna Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram. Sit properly. Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Ram Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Ram 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna Ram Ram Hare Krishna Ram Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Ram Ram Hare Krishna Ram Ram Krishna Hare Krishna Ram Ram Hare Krishna Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Ram Hare Krishna Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Ram Hare Krishna Ram Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Ram Hare Krishna Ram Hare Krishna Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Ram Hare Krishna Ram Hare Krishna Ram Hare Krishna Ram Krishna Hare Krishna Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Ram Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Ram Krishna 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 Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Ram Krishna Krishna Ram Hare Krishna Ram Krishna Oh, Hare Krishna 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 Ram Hare Krishna Ram Krishna 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 Ram Hare Krishna Ram Hare Krishna 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 Ram Hare Krishna Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, 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 Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Sit properly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, 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 Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram Ram, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Ram Ram, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram Ram, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Krishna Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Ram Ram Ram, Krishna Ram, Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Ram Ram Ram, Krishna Ram, Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, Sit properly. Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, 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 Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram Ram Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Rama Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Ram 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 Hare Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna Ram 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 Krishna Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna Ram 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Ram 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Ram 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 Hare Oh, Hare Krishna 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna Ram Krishna Krishna Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Sit properly. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Ram, 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 Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, 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 Ram, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Ram. Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna. Krishna, 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 Ram, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Krishna, 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Ram, Hare Oh, Hare Krishna, 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Krishna, 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Ram, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna. Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Krishna, 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare
Shri
Hare Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Janatpuri Dham ki jai, Mayapur Dham ki jai, Rupankul Kaj Dham ki jai, Bhakti Devi Tulsidev ki jai, Urmai Gangamai ki jai, Shri Shri Gauratai ki jai, Shri Gauratai ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Om Harish Sandhavati, Om Harish Sandhavati, Om Harish Sandhavati, Mr. Shiva and Gaura, The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivadadari Gopi Janavalabha Girivadadari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajak Acharya Ashtottara Shata Shri Srimad Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajak Acharya Ashtottara Shata Shri Srimad Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Primsekaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Mathura Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shmatitana Vihaswami Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shmatitana Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Which text is it?
Bodhyammanasya Rishibhihi Atmanaha Tat Jigrikshataha Karno Cha Nirabidyatam Dishaha Shrotram Gunagraha Bodhyamanasya Rishibir Atmanastaj Jigrikshataha Karnocha Nirabidyatam Disha Shrotram Gunagraha Bodhyamanasya Rishibir Atmanastaj Jigrikshataha Karnocha Nirabidyatam Disha Shrotram Gunagraha Bodhyamanasya Rishibir Atmanastha Jigrikshataha Karnocha Nirabidyatam Disha Shrotram Gunagraha
Bodhyamanasya
Rishibir
Atmanastaj Jigrikshataha
Atmanastha Jigrikshataha
Karnocha Nirabidyatam Disha Shrotram Gunagraha
Bodhyamanasya Rishibir Atmanastas
Jigrikshataha
Karnocha Nirabidyatam Disha Shrotram Gunagraha Bodhyamanasya rishibhir
Bodhyamanasya rishibir
Atmanastajjigrikshataha
Atmanasta jigrikshataha
Karnaucha nirabhidyetam
Arnocha nirabidyetam
Dishashrotram gunagraha
Dishashotram gunagraha
Bodhyamanasya rishibir
Bodhyamanasya rishibir
Atmanasta jigrikshataha
Atmanasta Jagrikshataha
Karnocha nirabidyetam
Arnocha Nirbhidyetam
Dishashrotram gunagraha
Shakrotam Gunagraha
बोध्यमाने ऋषिभिः
Bodhyamanasya Rishibir
आत्मनस्तज् जिगृक्षतः
Atmanasta Jagrikshataha
कर्णौ च निर्विद्येताम्
Arnocha Nirbhidyetam
दिशस्त्रोत्रं गुणग्रहः
Shashrotam
बोध्यमानस्य ऋषिभिः
Rishibir
आत्मनस्तज्जिगृक्षतः
Jigrikshataha
कर्णौ च निरभेद्येताम्
Arnocha nirabidyetam
दिशश्रोत्रं गुणाग्रहः
Dishashotram gunagraha
Bodhyamanasya Rishibir
Bodhyamanasya rishibir
Atmanasta Jagrikshataha
Shataha
Karnocha Nirbhidyetam
Arnocha nirabidyetam
Dishashrotam Gunagraha
Dishashotram gunagraha
Budhyamanasya Rishibir
Bodhyamanasya rishibir
Atmanascha Jigitshataha
Atmanasta jigrikshataha
Karnacha Nirbidyatam
Arnocha nirabidyetam
Dishashrotam Gunagraha
Dishashotram gunagraha Bodhyamanasya, desiring to understand. Rishibhihi, by the authorities. Atmanaha, of the Supreme Being. Tat, that. Jigrikshataha, when he desired to take up. Karno, the ears. Cha, also. Nirabidyetam, became manifested. Dishaha, the direction of the god of air. Shrotram, the power of hearing. Gunagraha, and the objects of hearing. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. By development of the desire of the great sages to know, the ears, the power of hearing, the controlling deity of hearing, and the objects of hearing became manifested. The great sages desired to hear about the self. Purport. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, by advancement of knowledge, one should try to know about the Supreme Lord, the summum bonum of everything. Knowledge does not mean knowledge only of the laws of nature or physical knowledge, which are working by the direction of the Lord. The scientists are eager to hear about the physical laws working in material nature. They are eager to hear through the medium of radio and television about things taking place far away from them on other planets. But they should know that the power of hearing and the instruments of hearing were given to them by the Lord for hearing about the self, or about the Lord. Unfortunately, the power of hearing is misused in hearing the vibrations of mundane affairs. The great sages were interested in hearing about the Lord through Vedic knowledge and nothing more. That is the beginning of oral reception of knowledge. Maharaj, would you like to speak on this verse?
Vedanta Sutra begins that now that you've reached the human form of life, Tato Brahma Jigyasa should inquire about the transcendental subject matter. This is the business of the human being, because humans have the ability to understand the absolute truth. Their intelligence is capable of understanding something beyond what they can perceive with their senses. They have words for that. They have ways of explaining it. It's a developed language. Other animals also have language. Other species, they have their own language, but the words are not so, the concepts are not so developed. It's like ants. If a group of ants is going along one path, and then one of the ants in that path comes along some danger, some attack, that ant goes and tells the others very quickly, and they all turn around and go the other way. So they have language and they have communication, but they can say turn around and go the other way, but they can't say we have to get out of this material world. We're not these bodies, and we have to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That they cannot do. So the human form of life is very special. It's a good opportunity. This is stated in many places in the Vedas that this human life is very rarely achieved. It's not something that one gets often. There's 8,400,000 species of life. So one can spend so much time in the other species. Some of them live very long, like trees. One can live in the body of a tree for hundreds and thousands of years. That's a waste of time. Sitting there in the earth and just sucking up some liquid something, foodstuffs from the earth. That's it, and the sunshine. So that's okay just to live, just to exist. But the living entities are meant for more than that. And the Lord wants living entities to do more than that. The Vedas are for human beings, not for animals. But we see that the people nowadays, humans, are behaving more like animals. They don't care about the higher knowledge. In fact, they don't even mind if they live just like dogs. They make animals their pets, and they live on the same level of consciousness. So it's a waste, because then that means next life, they won't progress. They won't go to the next stage, just like if someone's in school and he can't keep up with the other students, with the subject matter of the class, then he flunks. He doesn't go forward. He goes. In fact, he may go backwards. So going backwards is not progress. They say evolution. They think that they're evolving, but actually they're devolving down to lower species. So, therefore, Krishna gives the guidance in Bhagavad Gita. He says, if one doesn't follow the principles of Shastra, Yak Shastra Vidim Utsuja, Vartate Kamakarata, then he goes down. He gives up the human form of life, and he's put into the lower species, birth after birth.
So the Vedas explain that tadvini pradipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. One should approach a spiritual master, one who has seen the truth, surrender unto them submissively, and render service unto them and inquire from them submissively. So in this way, they can impart the truth to you because they have seen it themselves. So just like any subject we hear about in school or in occupation, whenever someone wants to learn, they have to learn from a teacher. So Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, he was learning from the supreme teacher, Krishna. And if we want real knowledge, then we can take that knowledge from the Vedas, because the Vedas are eternal. It's stated all throughout the Vedas that they emanate from the breathing of the Supreme Lord. So from the original being, the oldest being, the Vedas are emanating, and one can learn them under the authority and direction of an expert spiritual master. And in that way they can understand how to practically, how to understand this knowledge and how to apply it in their life. And it was explained in the purport that advancement of knowledge means that one should try to know about the Supreme Lord, the summum bonum of everything. So we see that's what science is made for. It's for understanding the cause. Scientists will analyze some event or some object and say, well, what is the cause of this? Try to get down to the very foundation of it. So then the topmost science would be to understand the supreme cause, the cause of all causes. And that is what the Vedas are explaining. And so it would behoove one to take up this extensive amount of knowledge that's being spoken in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And we can see who are the authorities that are teaching this knowledge. The first one in the Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya is Lord Brahma. Such an intelligent being, his body is made of intelligence. He's situated on the highest planet in the universe. He's able to create everything within the material universe. And that person is explaining that Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami, that I worship the original person, Govinda. He explains that there's no one higher than Govinda, the Supreme Lord. So a real scientist would want to hear from such a person and take knowledge from them. But instead we see in schools and textbooks, anywhere science, so-called science is being spoken, that it's simply just speculations, just guesswork, or bluffing. For instance, we hear that, this is one thing I heard from a scientist last year, is that it was 80 or 90% of the entire universe is made of dark matter. And what does dark matter mean? We don't know. So we see it's bluffing, it's just cheating, because if you don't fully know something and then you try to act like you know it and teach it to others, that's called cheating. And two, we also see that it's bluffing because you're saying the universe is full. I understand 100% of the universe, so much so that I can tell you that I don't understand 90%. It doesn't make sense. We don't know what 90% of it is made up of. Then how do you even know the rest of it? So it's simply cheating. And then instead of giving a supreme cause, they say everything is happening by accident. So Srila Prabhupada explains that this accident idea is also nonsense. Where do we see anything happening by accident? If everything's happening by accident, then why work so hard? Why not accidentally become rich? Or whatever goals and desires you have, accidentally achieve those goals. He made the point that why they can just accidentally get a PhD. Why do they go through all of the work for a PhD? So where is this accident happening? Nothing in the world is happening by accident. But we see everything, whenever there's some complex machine, just like with nature, nature is a machine. Everything is working so precisely. There's the sun rising at the perfect time every day. The planets are suspended in their particular orbits. There's seeds that have all the necessary potency and information to make millions of more of that plant with millions of more seeds. So nature is a machine, so any complex machine we see, we understand, it must have been made by some person. There's the iPhone. If we put all the metal, plastic, gold, whatever else is in the iPhone in a box, and just said eventually it would, if we leave all these parts in a box, eventually it will turn into an iPhone. No one would believe that. But that's what is being taught in science today. So we see any complex machine, it takes a person to actually create it and to utilize it. So the real science would be to understand who is the person behind this machine. Not to just say nature is the cause, but who is the cause of this nature? And then in the purport, knowledge does not mean knowledge only of the laws of nature or physical knowledge, which are working by the direction of the Lord. The scientists are eager to hear about the physical laws working in material nature. And again, if there's laws, there must be a lawmaker. So who made these laws of material nature? How is it that everything is happening so precisely? Another idea with this whole accident theory is that everything is just happening randomly, chaotically. So it starts off very intelligently, that there was nothing, and then that nothing exploded and everything came into existence. So that's already flawed there. We don't see an example of nothing anywhere in our experience. And then we especially don't see explosions making anything of order. Like we were driving to the mall yesterday to distribute books, and there was, I don't know if you saw, on the side of the road there was actually a house that had exploded. There was somehow or other, there was a house and half of it had exploded at some point. So it's charred all over the top of it, and it doesn't look very nice anymore. If you look at the other houses in the neighborhood, they're perfect square, triangle roof, each shingle is on, everything's very orderly. But if you look at the one that exploded, it's charred, there's pieces everywhere, it doesn't look like a house, it's all misshapen, water coming in through the... So there's no example of an explosion and chaos turning into something orderly. But it takes some intelligence. Someone has to go make a house very precisely, put each nail in each shingle, and then it is nice and structured. But if they just put all the wood and bricks and everything else in a pile and then put some dynamite there and blow it up, it doesn't become a house. It takes some intelligence, a person behind it. So the perfect use of science would be to understand, even if they say everything came from an explosion, well, who made the explosion? Just like when there's something like that happens, there's a whole investigation, the news reports on it, different people find out where did it come from, how did it detonate. So who's behind the explosion? Who created the universe? Who created these laws of nature? And that information is given in the Vedas, and it's given by personalities who have perfect knowledge. So if we want to get knowledge, we should get it from a perfect source. And so that perfect source is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And He is giving all of the Vedas so that one can understand Him, understand this world, understand their position, and understand the goal of life. The living entities have 4 defects. So every conditioned soul, anyone in this material world, we see has the tendency to make mistakes. We might try our best, but some mistake happens. The tendency to cheat. So even though I don't have full knowledge, I might explain something like I'm the expert. I know it. Just like with that example before, they don't have full knowledge of the universe, but then they say it must be like this. And then the tendency, so cheating, mistakes, imperfect senses. All of our senses are completely conditioned. My eyes can only see under certain conditions. If there's enough light, then they can see. If I'm too close to something or too far away, I can't see it. So all of the senses are conditioned. And then cheating, mistakes, imperfect senses, and the tendency to be an illusion. So the conditioned living entities can't see everything exactly as it is. Just like the mistake of thinking that I am this body, so I have to be in anxiety all of the time just for the maintenance of this body and work day and night just for maintaining the body. This is called illusion. But if we hear from advanced scientists like those coming in parampara who are giving perfect knowledge, then we can understand how this material nature is working, who is the cause of matter and spirit, what is matter and spirit, and what is our relation to that cause of all causes. And for some scientists who only lives 100 or 70 or 80 years at most, to think that they can expand their brain beyond the brink of Brahma, the creator of the universe, is very puffed up. or even just beyond any of the acharyas coming in parampara, even the most recent ones. We see hearing about Brahma is very, you could say, fantastical. You're hearing of someone who lives millions of years, 4 heads, can create everything in the universe. But even hearing from the acharyas who have come most recently, for a scientist to think that they know more than them is so puffed up, because we can just look at what is the life and the character of these persons. And when we hear about them, we can realize how advanced these personalities are in knowledge. Specifically, if we just look at their character, like Chanakya Pandit explains that a learned person, he sees all others' belongings just like garbage in the street. He doesn't try to covet anyone else's belongings. And the other sign of a learned person is that he sees every woman as mother. So some scientists might do that, like we hear in the book Brain Gain. Anyone who actually performed anything significant for history and humankind, they were practicing celibacy. But if we see a lot of the scientists now, are they seeing every woman as their mother? We can hear what they're speaking. So those who are actually interested in the real science and understanding who we are, what is matter, what is spirit, who's the controller of both, they don't take any interest or pleasure in hearing the talks of mundane speculators, people who are just guessing, and people who are fully absorbed in mundane affairs of this world. It's explained that just like birds of a feather, they flock together. So the Paramahamsas, or the swans, they want to be in the nice lakes and reservoirs of water. So they hear from the Vedas. They hear this pure transcendental knowledge, whereas those who are interested in mundane affairs, they hear about them in mundane literature, which is compared to a pilgrimage place for crows. So we take these books of pure knowledge that's relishable to the soul, and we bring them to many pilgrimage places for crows, such as music festivals or any big events. Many people are taking a big pilgrimage, paying lots of money to go to these places, which are just nothing but mundane activities are being spoken of there and advertised there. But we bring them this pure transcendental knowledge, and those who are intelligent, they very eagerly take to it. And they can make all advancement in life and have all of their questions answered and all of their problems solved just by hearing this perfect knowledge, this eternal knowledge, which is coming from the Supreme Lord Himself. They are eager to hear through the medium of radio and television about things taking place far away from them on other planets. But they should know that the power of hearing and the instruments for hearing were given to them by the Lord for hearing about the self or about the Lord. Unfortunately, the power of hearing is misused in hearing so many vibrations of mundane affairs. The great sages were interested in hearing about the Lord through Vedic knowledge and nothing more. That is the beginning of oral reception of knowledge. So whatever we hear, whatever we associate with, we take on those qualities. So if we hear from a pure source, then we can become purified. We can actually see things as they are. If we hear from someone who is seeing as it is, then we can actually see things as they are. We can see clearly. So we're getting that opportunity to hear from devotees, hear from the spiritual master, hear from the Shastra every day. And it's a great opportunity. There's just a few more things I was thinking of. Or are there some questions? There's about 12 more minutes. Yes, Radhamadar Prabhu.
I need help reconciling the conception. Like I need to understand the proper conception. Like how basically so these living entities, these fruitive workers and the trees and the animals, they are wasting their time, but at the same time they're helping us in our service, they're essential. And so Like Krishna has given them this body which is producing oxygen and fruit and things like that, and we take it and we use it to serve him. So how can we reconcile that they're wasting their time in the material world, but simultaneously they're helping us serve Krishna?
Yeah, we could call any time in the material world time wasted, because it's the material world. It's not our home. It's like the prison house of existence. It's described as 1/4 of the whole creation. So the majority of the creation is in the spiritual world, where the living entities are free. They can act not conditioned by the modes of nature. They're engaged in their natural position of serving the Supreme Lord. But in this material world, which is a small section of existence, it's like the prison house. So those who want to try to declare their independence from the Supreme Controller and try to imitate the Supreme Lord, then they can be here in the prison house of existence. So they're put in a body that they're not, a material body, and then their activities are directed by the modes of material nature. So
another way of seeing how expert a manager of the Lord is. He's taking the most rebellious living entities, and they're good for nothing, more or less, but he's making good out of them. And he gives them the body of a tree, which maybe can produce some nice medicine. So in that way they get indirect benefit. And if that medicine happens to go to a Vaishnava, then they get tremendous benefit. Or if a plant produces a flower that gets offered to the deity and gets on the garland of the deity, then wonderful progress can be made. So this is Krishna's causeless mercy, that he even these good-for-nothings can be given a chance to do some service and to have association with the devotees and with Krishna. Uddhava felt that if he became a blade of grass outside of Vrindavan, then some of the specks of dust from the gopis' feet might land on him and he would become perfect. So there's no harm in being a plant or anything, as long as one can be connected with Krishna. So the devotees are expert in how to engage the lost souls, bring them back into the service of the Lord. And in so many ways they do that. And you can use cows, you can use even the rooster. The rooster, he makes his sound early in the morning, and the intelligent persons, they take advantage. It's time to get up now. Brahma Muhurta, before sunrise, should get up and take advantage for a spiritual life. So those who are intelligent, they know how to utilize all these different things, just like you mentioned Chanakya Pandit. Chanakya Pandit describes that even we can learn from the dog. The dog has, it's not the way we're trying to learn from the dog now is just to behave, to take the things that the dog does so ignorantly, and we make those our criteria. But no, the dog, he wakes up. When he wakes up, he's immediately awake. He doesn't go like we do. So that's a good quality. And he's faithful to his master. So there are good qualities that we should learn, but we have to learn those from the intelligent persons. And the most intelligent persons are those who are engaged fully in devotional service.
Thank you, Maharaj. Yes, Jai Keshava Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. I was thinking about these, scientists that we sometimes talk about, and how we, so to some people they could think that we're like grouping together all scientists. Although, we do understand that there's devotee scientists, and there's devotees who benefit from science today. But so I was wondering if we could refine the way we talk about it so it's not seeming like we're against science, because we're not against science. Like so many scientific advancements help devotees who use it today. So how do we understand, how can we refine the language to make it known that we're not thinking that? Because I know I'm not thinking that.
Yeah, we're not against science, but we want to hear real science. We don't want to be cheated or lied to. So if a scientist is just cheating, making up something that has no foundation, then that should be criticized. Because then people, if they hear that, they'll be misled, and they will miss out on the opportunity of understanding the absolute truth, which is available in this human form of life. One has the intelligence to understand that. So devotees are interested in real science that can actually be understood and proved and has evidence for. And so that's the kind of science that we're interested in. But if one simply guesses,
yeah. Srila Prabhupada knew that in order to actually have a real effect, or shall we say a more profound effect on the scientific community, it would require to have some persons who knew the Vedic science and who also could speak the language of the scientists, speaking the language that they understood, molecules and all these nice words, scientific words. And he gave the example of a pestle and mortar. So someone takes your pestle and you break your teeth with it. So in other words, you take the words, the scientific language and the scientific methodology, and use it to break their teeth. In other words, to defeat them. The idea is to defeat them. And so he was very excited when a scientist would join the Krishna consciousness movement. I remember Swarup Damodar, he was in Los Angeles, and he was new, and he was a scientist. He was studying to get his PhD, and he was interested. He was involved in Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada was so happy, and he spent a lot of time with him, training him, because he said he can speak the words. He can use their language to make them understand, and to make people like to hear the language of the scientists. So yes, it can be done. He didn't necessarily himself spend time, Prabhupada didn't spend time to go back to university and learn all the different words. But those who have done that, then they should be engaged in speaking the language, the scientific language, in such a way that people will appreciate it more. And it works, we see. Some devotees, especially Sariputta Prabhu, was a very beautiful speaker, right? And you wouldn't feel like he was criticizing anybody, but then suddenly you found out that he just proved that they were complete imbeciles. And what you get to the end of the talk, at the end of the explanation, and you see, well, people are proposing something preposterous. But he did it in such a nice way. So yes, we can, in a nice way, if we can learn how to do that, that's nice. But even if we can't learn how to do that, we should know as Prabhupada made abundantly clear, because he sometimes used harsh words, but not necessarily publicly. For example, when he was speaking, when someone would bring up the topic of the scientists, he'd say, kick on their faces with boots. And the devotees like that. Sometimes devotees like that type of talk. But Prabhupada generally didn't do that in public. He would be more gentlemanly and present it in a particular way. But to call a spade, to call a thief is not wrong. It needs to be done. If it can be done in a nice way, so that everyone feels comfortable with it, that's fine also. Hope I touched on your points.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.